My name is Rachel Reams, and I'm a foster care advocate with Josiah White. Josiah White exists to offer hope and transformation through Christ to children and families in crisis. Indiana is one of the highest referral states in the country. Most of what we're seeing is that these parents really love their kids and they're just unable to make ends meet. And so foster care is an opportunity for people to stand in the gap for those vulnerable families and those vulnerable kids and create just that consistency of love and providing support and nurturing while their parents get the resources and the help that they need.
I've seen numerous reunifications with birth families where foster parents have created this beautiful relationship with parents where even months after they go home, these families are still connecting with birth families to make sure they're doing okay. It's a bittersweet day for an adoption because it's saying goodbye to the family that they were born into, that still love them, but being accepted with open arms into a family that chose them.
But there's this stigma with foster children that they are difficult kids. They have a lot of behaviors that they're quote unquote bad or difficult to deal with, and for the most part, they're just kids. They're just kids who have experienced the trauma of being removed from their home, and the behaviors that arise, what we learn is that kids are really resilient and they're actually really able to grow when placed into a setting that's consistent and stable.
Newer family specialists coming in, I help train them, so they're like, how do you do it? Like, how do you hear these stories and go through it? And I'm like, I have to pray about it. I have to sit with God and understand that there's a reason DCS has gotten involved. And if it's only to show this one child the love of God, to cultivate that relationship, then it's worth it.
Because the statistics are so bad, because Madison County has such a huge need, you can get really overwhelmed by the darkness of it all. And so I have to quote the great theologian of my 80s childhood, Mr. Rogers. His mom would always say, like, if you see scary things in the news, look for the helpers, because there's always people that are helping. We've been doing foster care for 40 years, and over those 40 years, we've seen and welcomed over 9,000 children from Indiana into our homes. Our foster families, they have really helped shape my faith of, they felt called to this, and because of that call, I see God just being faithful with them through a lot of dark seasons and dark times, and then you kind of wrestle with your faith in those moments of trauma and looking at a child and just hoping that one day they realize, they aren't the sum of what's happened to them. They're an overcomer, and just being able to walk with foster families, it's made my faith so much stronger to work in a place that can be really dark. I feel like the light shines the brightest by the helpers, and that's allowed me to see God working through it.
Everyone has heard the age-old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. You may know a friend who has accepted a foster placement in their home. Just ask who you know who's already in the field of fostering children. What can we do to help?
The biggest thing we can do is scale it down. The number seems unmanageable when you think about it, but really there's about 400,000 kids in foster care throughout the US and roughly 400,000 churches. And so when I look at it like that, it's very doable. In fact, last year I told all of the churches I would go visit, hey, can you guys just join me in praying for one foster family to rise up from your church? And then once that family's risen up, we'll get them trained, we'll get them licensed, and then if you can get a group of people, maybe it's a small group, maybe it's a women's Bible study, maybe it's a couple of families that foster family knows, but if you could just surround them and support them. A lot of times we look at foster families like they are superheroes, and really they're just normal people who said yes and were obedient to what they felt the Lord calling them to do. And a lot of times God places our calling way above our gifting, but that's where in the gift of the gap, God really works and grows our reliance and our dependence on Him. And I think that not everyone is called to foster, but everyone is called to do something.